Hey guys, and welcome to the channel. Now, I didn't do a review for the first test. You're probably wondering why. It's because it was an absolute ball fest, wasn't it? Let's be honest. Unfortunately, in the end, England just didn't want to put up the chase. But this time, New Zealand absolutely thrashed England, and maybe it's a little bit of what goes around comes around. They tried to make an exciting match in the first one. England didn't want to play ball. Now, in this one, they've been comprehensively beaten, and to be honest with you, it's pretty embarrassing. They've lost by 8 wickets on day 4 of this test match, and they have never. I don't think there was a single moment really in this test match when they weren't in control, in some sort of control. England just were not able to wrench the momentum from New Zealand, and New Zealand are a very good side and very underrated, and that's why it kind of makes me laugh a little bit that all England care about the Ashes, because in my opinion, New Zealand are actually a better side than Australia. But look, this obsession with the Ashes is just one thing that maybe me as someone who supports Pakistan, and yes, I have grown up in England and I've grown up around it, and I understand the obsession when you have McGrath, when you have Warne, and you have the best team ever, one of the best teams ever in Australia, and you play them and it's a challenge. But at the moment, Australia are not at that side, so not sure why England have played the team they have against New Zealand. Pretty disappointing, to be honest with you. And look, I mean, if they play this type of cricket, they will get beaten by India at home as well. Right, should we go into this then? Because I think there's a lot to discuss in terms of lineups, batting, bowling, especially batting. So first of all, I think we need to start off with the teams, because you know what really makes me laugh is people turn around and say, hold on, but England have a full strength side. Neither have New Zealand. They've rested a lot of players for this game. So Will Young came in because Kane Williamson is injured. So their talisman, their best player, right? Kane Williamson not playing. Will Young comes in. Tom Blundell playing. Daryl Mitchell's come in as well. Those two coming in, Colin de Grandhomme and BJ Watling, who played in the first test match or would normally be playing, came out. Matt Henry came in, right, and Ajaz Patel came in. They came from Mitchell Santner and Carl Jamieson. So they made 6 changes in the end, New Zealand, to their team. Now that, yes, you might say, oh, they're just trying out to see who will be playing in the World Test Championship final, 100%. But also is to rotate the squad and also say, look, okay, let's see who's good, but let's give everyone a chance. But this is not their strongest side by any stretch of the imagination. Now you look at England and you might say, okay, well, there's no Joss Butler, no Jofra Archer, no Chris Wokes, right? No Ben Folkes. So that's 4. Let's say 4, okay? 4 players. That's not 6 like New Zealand, is it? So anyone that turns around and wants to say to me that England have been, they've been hard done by, 1, it was their own choice, and 2, what do you want to say? It was just really, really poor application from England. Even with this team, they should be putting up a better fight against New Zealand. I said that I thought New Zealand would win it 2-0 actually, but look, they've still won it, and that was my prediction all along. And because I just had a feeling that England would completely capitulate, and that's exactly what's happened. Like I said, they would have a weak middle order, and that's exactly what's happened. They've collapsed. So should we go through the scorecards, because this is going to make really bad, really, really bad viewing. So first of all, let's go through the first innings for England. So Burns, right, 81 for him, and he has been in phenomenal form, to be fair. He's the only batsman I can say, you know what, fair play to him, because I genuinely think he's played pretty well in both matches, that is, in this whole series, a 2-match series that it is. I think in the county championship, he'd only made 1 score that was 50, that was less than 50. So all his other scores in the county championship were 50 plus, so really impressive. He's taken that form into this series, and he was struggling for runs. So to come back, and people might say, well, he doesn't always look the best. It doesn't matter. If you can get runs, you can get runs. And that's all that matters in Test cricket, not how you get them. If you get them, you get them. And people will remember that, hold on, he scored 80 odd, 90 odd, 100, etc. Dan Lawrence obviously got 81 not out as well. Very streaky at the start, but in the end put together some good. So, yeah, I think he put together some good strokes. He's obviously quite an extravagant, flamboyant player in the way that he plays his ground strokes. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, the shots that he plays are very, I don't want to say Kevin Peterson-esque, because it's giving him too much credit. And that's not to say that he may not become a fantastic player, Dan Lawrence, but Kevin Peterson, obviously a legend of England cricket and cricket in general. But some of the on drives that he plays, some of the kind of the flair that he has to his shots is very, very unique, and it is good to see. He's got a very good attacking side to his game. He just needs to tighten up his defense, I think, because in this innings he was a bit fortunate at the start. So he'll look at that and say that's a good knock of 81 off 124. Not out as well, good, nice little Reninka. Wood and Stone were pretty impressive in the tail, but they shouldn't really be having to get runs here. So 20 for Stone, 41 for Wood. Bracey got a duck. Crawley got a duck. Root got 4. Pope 19. Pope looks, and this is really streaky as well. He's getting 19, 20s, 30s. He's failing to push on. And then the rest, I mean, don't really need to discuss it. So if we look at the bowling from that first innings, Bolt, 4 wickets. I mean, we know how good he is. I don't need to discuss too much. Obviously, swinging the ball away from the left-hander and also into the right-hander is his main threat that he possesses, and just very metronomic for the most part. Matt Henry as well gets the ball to swing away from the right-hander. You can also get it to seam into the right-hander as well. He obviously came in for Carl Jamieson and did a pretty good job. Neil Wagner was pretty good as well, 1 wicket. Ajaz Patel, he's someone who actually impressed me, and I wanted New Zealand to play him instead of Mitchell Santner in the first Test match, and they didn't do it, and that really disappointed me. I did it in this one, and I thought he performed well. 2 wickets, right, on a newish pitch. What more do you want? What more do you want? The spinner's doing the business. 2 wickets. It's not a day 4, day 5 pitch he was bowling on. Then in New Zealand's first innings, my main man, my boy Devon Conway, 80 off 143. He is just doing what he does. Quality stuff from Devon Conway. Will Young, 82, came in for Kane Williamson and did the business as well. He's looked really good in the county championship, so good to see him get a chance and also get runs. Ross Taylor's are good to see him get some runs because he looked like a deer in headlights in the previous Test match. 80 off 139, and then a couple of 20s and 30s. Not too much to write home about, but they ended up getting 388 all out, right? So by that point, they're already 85 runs in front of England, and you're thinking, okay, we've got an okay match. New Zealand have got the momentum, right? They're still slightly in control there, but England, if they can put on a decent second innings total, they can push New Zealand. And then we'll look at the bowling. So Anderson, 1 for him, 4 for Broad, which is really important because Broad, he massively struggled in that first Test match to get any wickets. Previously, I think it's something like he's basically been on a very lean patch for the last 5-6 Test matches at least. So to get a few wickets and get 4 as well definitely will give him some confidence because he's looked very lacking in the threat department, really, whilst bowling. Mark Wood, though, we always know he's a threat. He can always possess a wicket-taking ability. Same with Ollie Stone as well, to be fair, and they picked up 2 each. Joe Root having to bowl 15 overs is a complete joke, to be honest with you, and that's why you have to pick a specialist spinner. I'm not sure why they didn't. Just a bizarre decision, I think. Look, I know that you might look at it and say, well, okay, Lords doesn't necessarily turn too much, but by day 3, day 4, it will start to turn. If you've got a good spinner like Ajaz Patel, it shows that 1, he can get through the overs when he needs to and tie down and create pressure, and 2, he has wicket-taking ability, and that's exactly what he did for New Zealand. I'm not sure why he didn't play 1. They clearly, look, let's be honest, they do not trust Leach or Bess, or even if Moeen Ali was available, or Moeen Ali to be their lead spinner. And that's just the fact of the matter. Because, for example, if India played on a green turf, do you think they'd leave out Ravi Ashwin? Not a chance. Not a chance in hell. Ravi Ashwin's playing every single Test match for India, no matter what the conditions. I'm telling you, from here on out, 100%. So that was disappointing. Dan Lawrence picked up a wicket as well. So fine. Interesting stuff from him as well. And then we can go on to England. So England's second innings. Now, this is where the fun really begins. Burns, duck. So this is where England are thinking, oh, crap, because our one player who was getting runs, he has fallen. That's it. Now we're under the cosh. Sibley has been in really lean form. 8 for him. Crawley's been in lean form. 17 from him. 11 for Root. 23 for Pope of 20. Looked okay whilst I was in, but again, didn't convert. Doesn't make a difference. A duck for Lawrence after getting 80 odd. Bracey gets his first Test runs. Doesn't make much of a difference, though. Only 8 for him. And Wood and Stone have to chip in again. Ridiculous. 15 and 29 from both of those. And basically a mirror image of the first innings. Broad and Anderson get no runs as well. So looking at this, you just think 122 all out, absolute capitulation by England. 100% it's a capitulation of epic proportions. Just poor application from the English batsman. Henry 3 wickets for him, 2 for Bolt, 3 for Wagner, 2 for Ajaz Patel. Didn't even need to use Darren Mitchell, and they just cleaned them up, right, in absolutely crazy fashion. So at the end of day 3, they were 122 for 9 England, and then obviously Ollie Stone got out earlier today, so that's why then they just had a very easy total. And I'm talking now at midday on the Sunday of day 4, so it really played 3.5 days of cricket, which is pretty poor. Well, not pretty, it's very poor from England. So should we have a look at New Zealand's second innings? Oh, Conway got out for 3. Young You're thinking, oh, hold on, doesn't matter. They were chasing. You know what they were chasing? 38. 38 they were chasing in the second innings of a Test match, halfway through day 4. Tom Latham 23 not out. I mean, this scoreline here is just doesn't really tell me anything. It just tells me that England were already dead men walking, really, unfortunately. And it's all of this. Really, really poor from England, and they're going to have to look at themselves in the mirror, dust themselves off, pick themselves back up. Because I tell you what, India have got a very good side. And we'll see in the World Test Championship, right, who's got a better side, especially in English conditions, because, right, that's where it's going to be played. It's going to be in Southampton. I slightly edge towards New Zealand, but to be honest with you, India are there or thereabouts. And I wouldn't be surprised if they won. It's a one-off Test match. Anything can happen. And they've got the seam attack. Can you imagine Mohammad Siraj running in and bowling to these guys? Mate, they're going to get cleaned up. They're going to get absolutely cleaned up. New Zealand didn't even play their full-strength side for either Test match. Just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So, look, all I'm saying is England have all they seem to care about is the Ashes, and they're going to end up losing 2 series at home most likely, because the selection and rotation, of course, they have no issues with, but the complete lack of interest in this series, and then to us in the India series, they will respect them more. But even then, you can tell all they care about is the Ashes away. Imagine if they get stuffed in the Ashes away 5-0, and they also lose the home series to India. There will be egg on the England management's faces. There really will be. So, look, all I'm saying is I just think it's a complete joke, if I'm being honest with you. As someone who loves watching cricket, there seems to be a complete lack of interest in winning Test matches. I mean, the first Test match as well, they didn't even bother to try and win it. Ridiculous, in my opinion. Like, how can you not go out and try and win a Test match because you're scared to lose it? Well, what does that tell you about the brand of cricket that England want to play at the moment, and also the mentality and confidence they have in their players? And that then translates onto the field, and that's exactly what's happened. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. Please do remember to subscribe to the channel, and of course get the notification bell to get alerted to all the new videos, and of course like this video as well. I should hopefully be doing collaboration for summing up this whole series as a whole. I'm not going to say who yet, just because, or which channel, because they haven't 100% confirmed, but they've given me the provisional yes. So hopefully that goes ahead, and then if so, I will of course do that. But yeah, thank you very much.